Did you see? I mean, I'm not going to go on in this one. I'm not going to go on for ages in this one. You have been punished enough. Even my post-match reaction to the Hearts game went on for an hour and 8 minutes. I tried to do a preview of today's game, of tonight's game today. I tried to do it like lunchtime. I think it went up about 2 o'clock and it was nearly an hour long and it was rambling and it was all this stuff. If you want to know about my deepest thoughts and the reasons I've held on to since I was a 12-year-old boy, about how Rangers doing well in Europe means the world to me and why Dynamo Kyiv are so excited. If you really want to go and you can watch that again. If you're a glutton for punishment, you can go and watch that again. I'm going to try and give you a quick post-match reaction because you deserve a break, folks. Thanks so much for watching my garbage, but I really have become a bit verbose, a bit extra verbose lately. But there was one thing I mentioned in that wee podcast earlier today, and it was why I just get excited by European football. It was all about Dynamo Kyiv away to San Etienne in the 75-76 European Cup quarter-final. I put a link underneath that and the kind of information below that that podcast I posted today. This is Dynamo Kyiv versus Rangers preview pod. Go into that and there's a link in the information below. You click on that and it's a French TV coverage, 6 minutes highlights of this great game between Saint Etienne and Dynamo Kyiv in the 70s. And I'm talking about the first goal that Saint Etienne scored that night that transformed the tie in their favour when it looked like they were almost down and out. It was just super exciting. It came from Dynamo Kyiv attacking them, being just in their box, looking like they were going to wrap the tie up, and it was a counter attack, and it's this great move, fantastically exciting move from one end of the pitch, to the other. The length of the pitch, one end of the pitch to the other is the length of the pitch. That's what I try to say. Alec, Christ, it's only a draw, mate. Calm down. But that's what Rangers did tonight against Dynamo Kyiv in the same competition, ostensibly a much earlier round at the European Cup as the Champions League. And what a goal we scored tonight, an absolute cracking goal. But this is, so just go back and look at that and then, watch Big Cyril's, Cyril the goal machine, watch his beautiful equaliser tonight. And that was just lovely, was it? It's just nice. We need that positivity. This is your... What is it? Fatek, immediate post-match reaction pod, coming to you in association with the Gersnet microphone, as always, and with Hellman's, the official mayonnaise of Euro 2024. The official mayonnaise of Euro 2024. You see that the adverts with Jack Grealish? How embarrassing is that? They didn't actually get to. He didn't get in the England squad to go to Euro 2024. But I think that was a direct go, a long overdue riposte to Mr. Neil McCauley, ace bank robber Neil McCauley, as played by Robert De Niro. It's a wee film, it's called Heat, came out in 1995. I think there's actually a sequel in the works at long last. It starred Robert De Niro and Al Pacino. He's the policeman who's, they're both different sides of the same coin kind of idea. You've seen all this kind of stuff before, cops and robbers. And they have a famous meeting with each other, which is based on the real life meeting the real life Neil McCauley had with Chuck Adamson, who's an advisor and a writer. He became later in life after his life in the police force, and good pals with Michael Mann. They'd worked together in TV stuff and all that. And he'd sat down with the real Neil McCauley, and they had this a friendly kind of, right, mate, just going to go somewhere else. And he's, I like Chicago. It's all right, okay. So they knew. He'd said to him, he'd warned him, if he's trying to rob somewhere in my locality, I'm going to have to shoot you. And he's, I might have to shout you. And that was fine. Just did it like a gentleman. He gave him a chance. But they do that in Heat. It's in LA. Heat's set in LA. They've transposed the story to a different American city, and it's all very slick. It's all very mid-90s, double-breasted suits and black shorts and that kind of thing. And Neil McCauley is getting, they're having the kind of set to with him and Al Pacino over a coffee. And Al Pacino just says to him, so you never fancied a regular type life? And De Niro's character, Neil McCauley, just, what the fuck is that? Barbecues and ball games. And I felt it's a bit disparaging. I'm thinking, wait a minute, I do admire you, Mr. McCauley, and as played by Robert De Niro, but that's lived with me for a long time. Barbecues and ball games. It's going to be the title of my autobiography and my third album, but it's barbecues and ball games. He makes it as if he's kind of condescending about that concept. He robs banks. But if you watch the film Heat, and I don't think I'm giving anything away here because anybody has watched the film Heat at least 35, 40 times in the last year and 50 times in each of the years back to 1995, he he gets all the information he needs. It's a guy who stays up on the hill in a wheelchair, lives in a wheelchair, and as we know, this season, folk in wheelchairs are the ones that cause all the trouble, but this guy, an arch criminal, no surprise at all, Kelso, and he gives them all the information about the bank. He tells them how to break in the night before the robbery and switch off the alarm system. So when he gets there, and he picks up a getaway driver in a diner at breakfast time on the day of the robbery, because they're 10 a penny. They drive and they go in there, and even as the police say, it's Bosco or LaSalle's, what's the other post we called it? Bosco, LaSalle's, and the guy that gets shot in the arm. What's his name? Anyway, it's like they're already coming out. It's so quick. They just get in there. They know how much money's in there. 12 million, and they get it on the bags. And away they go without anybody even knowing they've been in the back. They're almost in the getaway car. Ends up the police have a wee shootout with them, and they die. But it makes out that somehow. Have you ever actually tried having a barbecue and ball games? Barbecue, but our life, the life that we live. You've seen the state of the weather this summer. You want to have a barbecue? I love barbecues. I love barbecue food. I love barbecue chicken wings, and I love barbecued burgers and all that. But if you're actually going to make them yourself, the risk of botulism, salmonella, it's really difficult to cook. The weather these days in Scotland, try to have a barbecue at your back door, whatever like that. It's peeing down. I don't know what you do with barbecues. I don't really try. Maybe you electrocute yourself or what. They're certainly going to put the fire out on them. It's really difficult to do. And if you're having ball games, you're always going to have to invite the neighbours and all that, because you're going to make a lot of noise. You're having the barbecue outside, and there's always wains there. Usually a beach ball, sometimes a fitbin. Maybe you go to the wains there that are kicking the ball and they're knocking down your beer. It could be cold beer and that kind of thing. And it's like if they wrote a book about that. Was it The Slap? Was that about a barbecue? Or was it about a pool party or something like that? But it was somebody's having to slap somebody else's wane, and that just got the whole, neighbourhood went to pieces. It's civil war, because this was the barbecue scenario was really difficult to negotiate. On top of that, you throw in ball games. What we've been through as a support all summer, watching no signings coming in, plenty of guys going out the door, wondering whose wages getting in. They're not going out the door fast enough. Hadji, is he leaving? Why is he playing for the B team? Is that to try and get him fit? No, we're still trying to sit. We didn't find that out until last night. It's complicated. It's hard going. So Neil McCauley, I've got absolutely no sympathy with you whatsoever, mate. You just get a big machine gun and you switch off the alarm system, you go and you rob the bank. Oh, big deal. Big absolute doddle compared to barbecues and ball games. So that's just something I've always had to. I need to get that off my chest. It's a hard life. A hard life. We can't turn our back. Don't attach yourself to it, and you can't walk out in 30 seconds flat when you feel the heat coming around the corner. What a coward! You know what I mean? Season ticket. My gels. You know what I mean? Continual credit card scheme. We've got 10 months booked, mate. We can't walk away in 30 seconds flat. Plus, we don't even know. It's 30 seconds flat. We find out who we're going to be playing. It's week by week, round by round. We still don't know if we're going to be having to keep our nights free for the playoff round of the Champions League, even though that was a great result tonight. It's no simple. It's just a hard life for the barbecues and ball games. That's before you try to fit in a family, and maybe even a partner, if you're lucky. But anyway, so this is one of the nights at barbecues and ball games, which is totally worth it. The summer months, and sponsored by Mayonnaise. My name's Alec Anderson, long afloat on shipless oceans. I did all my best to smile till your singing eyes and fingers drew me loving to your isle. I'm joining you shortly after Rangers drew 1-1. It's only a one each draw. We only drew one each. Away goals don't even count double in the event of extra time these days, or the event of the tie finishing level and goal. It's only a draw away to Dynamo Kyiv in the first leg. It's only the first leg of the Champions League third round qualifying tie. Rangers and Dynamo Kyiv. Did I mention that? And 5 years to the day since Philippe Clement's first game in permanent charge of Club Bruges. First European game ended with a 1-0 victory at home in Bruges, Club Bruges' actual stadium, which is also Kerko Bruges Stadium. So, Clement played there the other week in the Jan Bredow Stadium, where we played against Club Bruges in the 92-93, the first ever Champions League. The resonance, the coincidences. 5 years to the day since he won 1-0 against Dynamo Kyiv and eventually put them out in this very round of this very competition. He's got a creditable one each draw in Poland, in Lublin, the Motor Lublin Stadium. Because Dynamo Kyiv can't play their games in their home country. We can't play in our home stadium, but we're playing in our home city. So I still think slight advantage for us. We got one each draw. I don't know. The best way, I think I'm rambling, the best way to sum up this game, really, is a post-match reaction, and my reaction is kind of delirium. because things have been so negative. I explained all that in the preview pod earlier the day. Go and check that out for a glutton for punishment, folks. But things have been negative, and I've felt more kind of upbeat, I think, than the consensus. And that makes life a bit difficult. You don't want to fall with folk, you don't want to argue with folk, and there's no arguing. But the Rangers have, their summer has been, really, just a bit of a disaster when it comes to the fact that we don't even know where we're going to be playing, and it turns out it's going to be Hampden. We're not going to be playing at Ibrox in this coming competitive season, and we just can't get the signings in as quick as we'd like to. Again, you only had Connor Barron starting tonight as a new summer signing in this team from last season, when the team is already clearly needing a lot of work on it. And this means we're still on 2 wins in 12 games if you want to include pre-season friendlies. And you go back to last season, we've only won 2 of our last 12 matches of any sort, and one of them was a 5-2 win up at Auchenhowie over Hamilton Accies, and the other one was a 5-2 win over Dundee at Ibrox the night before Celtic officially won the league. I was talking about this on Saturday, sorry. But that's why I just had a funny feeling that we were going to win 5-2 is going to be the next win, hopefully. Maybe it's against Motherwell on Saturday. Maybe it's against maybe it's against Dynamo Kyiv in the second leg. Let's not get carried away with ourselves here, because this tie is very much in the balance. But it's one of the games tonight, I think you would, if you'd known, it sounds crazy, but if you'd known how you were going to go, it would have made watching it, how it was going to go, it would have made watching it a bit easier. That doesn't make sense. You could say that for so many games where you get a generally positive result, but I wasn't into it at all. I was kind of disconnected. I think a lot of the nonsense that's going on in Britain just now, I see a lot of Rangers fans getting involved in all this kind of Nigel Farage, Richard Tice, kind of just nonsense with the riots, and we hate folk because they're the only people who stab or rape folk, and it's horrible. It's really horrible, and I just seen a lot of Rangers, a lot of people that I know and what have you. And it's really depressing. And that flag, that Tynecastle popped up again. That flag with seeing the fucking SS symbols on it, and which just lets everybody who hates Rangers have an absolute flag day, for want of a better term. And it depresses me. But I know that's not what we're like. No, that's not what we're like as a support. In general, we couldn't be for me to have been supporting us this long and have seen so few instances of that kind of crap. But I just wasn't feeling that great about things at all today. And then we got the other night, and I'm not feeling great during the game. It's not going complete. It's clear it's going to be another slog, and I really don't have it in me. I just don't have the kind of emotional capacity. Also, the fact I'm still kind of on holiday. My missus is on holiday, so should be doing other things. I have been doing other things, and you're not really right into the football. You're not really concentrating in it. It's weird, but then the minute we equal it, I'm just want to watch the whole game again. Suddenly, it's a really strange game. And I think the moment that summed it up tonight, if I was to sum up in one kind of instance in the game, what is it, 70 odd minutes? It's kind of deep into the second half anyway, and a ball goes over. Dynamo Kyiv send a ball over the top of Tav, and he's backtracking. Tav's running, he's facing his own goal, and he's running back towards his own box, and this ball has gone over the top of him. And as Tav seems to do, he gets slower and slower as he gets closer and closer to the ball, while the opposition attacker is practically in his shorts. He's right down in Tappy and burned it, and this guy's going to nick in here, and he's going to get this ball. And Tav sticks his foot out, just takes the ball down out of the air, kind of waist height, turns, knocks a lovely ball back up the park. Really uncomfortable, but turned out really nice in the end. I mean, you're fearing the worst because of the stuff that's happened recently. Tav, you can see him getting slowly back to match fitness today, and I think that's summed up. At Rangers, very similar game to Saturday, except this wasn't Hearts at Tynecastle. This was the European Cup / Champions League against Dynamo Kyiv. We all knew Dynamo Kyiv had given Partizan Belgrade a pounding. How good was it? Did it get mentioned in the commentary? I don't know, but Alan Hutton is co-commentating, and he's the man who scored the only goal of the game. The only time I've seen Partizan Belgrade in the flesh, not in that UEFA Cup. The last time I saw group stages where you only played, certain teams at home and certain teams away, which is the way the Champions League, all the European, no fake tempting, all the European competitions now are doing the Swiss system, where you play 8 games in the group stage, you play 4 teams away from home, you play 4 teams at home. There's no home and away involved in the group stages now, which is an absolute shambles and a disgrace and a real shame. But Alan Hutton, he scored the last time that was the case. And I didn't realise, I only heard it in the comments tonight because it's the summer I've lowered my feet to the ground. That Partizan Belgrade, I should have known if I talking about Serbia and Russia, pretty pally. So that's obviously going to upset a Ukrainian club. And then Partizan Belgrade had gone to Moscow. I was hearing on Premier Sports, I watched the game on tonight, and obviously they'd gone to Moscow for a friendly tournament, a pre-season friendly tournament, a few weeks or days before they played Dynamo Kyiv. So they had extra motivation, the Dynamo Kyiv players, when it came to that game. There's a whole kind of Cyrillic alphabet, Orthodox church thing probably going on as well that we're not really involved in. We've got enough problems in that respect. So there was all this kind of stuff going on, and also I'd started hearing more and more people saying that Partizan Belgrade's defence had been an absolute disgrace, but it wasn't much better these days, we thought. But tonight, I think we saw that things aren't that bad. A lot of us basically were expecting Dynamo Kyiv to put six past us, as they had against Partizan Belgrade in the first leg of their second qualifying round in the same stadium as we're playing in tonight. Didn't happen. And the team, the only changes to the team, I think we're also feeling a bit depressed maybe through the first half because it's still just Connor Barron, as I say, who's starting out the new signings. We did have, what was the changes? That's how bad is it for Rabbi Matondo? He's always not getting a game at all. But Ross McCausland comes in, and obviously Cortez is fit. I don't know if Ross McCausland, Cortez is out injured for 45 weeks, as the manager was telling us, picking up that injury at Tynecastle. I think the manager has been banking on Cortez. He's the quality, using him on the left hand side. He doesn't, and I think what's happened is he might have been keeping Ross McCausland to play on the right hand side in this game instead of Scott Wright. I mean, that's why Scott Wright get played at Tynecastle. He does mix and match. He does like to utilise the squad. The manager, he's big on fitness, he's big on sharpness, he's big on just dealing small and feeding all. Sometimes to his detriment in the eyes of a few fans, but Ross McCausland starts on the right hand side tonight, and Scott Wright retains his place, but he goes over to the left hand side. Wasn't he great? Wasn't he great in the first half? Ross McCausland was good, gives you a good shift, good graft. And Leon Balogun started. He came on as a sub on Saturday for Davis, but Davis bombed out tonight, and it's Leon Balogun alongside John Suter, which until we get proper, the chap proper that we've signed from 20 Onskade, until we get him, start 20 Onskade, showing my age, FC 20 from the Eredivisie. Until we get him, properly settled in. Apparently, according to the manager, it's taken him a while to kind of settle in. Obviously, he just arrived last week, so he's not properly ready. But that was only changes to the starting 11 from Tynecastle. That was a bit disappointing. I just keep expecting to see the squad refreshed, and it's not going to happen. All that it's going to take time. But it was a bit more end-to-end, perhaps, than we were expecting. We just started really brightly. I think was it Tom Lawrence has a shot, and it's rebounds, and Dessers has a shot maybe the first 3 or 4 minutes of the game. Dynamo Kyiv come back at us, and it was quite end-to-end, but Dynamo Kyiv, I think, maybe just looking the more dangerous, creating the better chances, and they scored a goal. Yeah, they had the ball in the back of the net. Was it 18 minutes or something like that? We're looking a bit dodgy. Tav kind of clearing, but only as far a really low, almost like a pass back to the edge of his own box. And it ends up kind of getting fired in. Butland gets down well and saves it. It bounces up, and somebody nods it into the back of the net, but he was offside, clearly offside. So that didn't count. But 2 minutes later, Rangers got the part. Ross McCausland does really well, just working it and dragging it through the legs of a Dynamo Kyiv player, beating a couple of guys actually out on that right hand side. Then he curls a shot with his left foot off the far post. Just comes back off the far post. So we're in the game. We're giving as good as we get, and I'm just starting to think this is going to be okay. Balogun and Suter are untidy, but doing the job. Do you know what I mean? There's a lot of kind of Balogun a few times, guys were getting past him, but he was making sure he was kind of knocking them off balance as they got past him. Cyriel Dessers, a few untidy. The distribution was a bit untidy, and I think we just started going long, probably for that reason. The goalkeeper, Jack Butland, just seemed to be launching it. There was a lot of launching it up to Cyriel Dessers, who isn't really the kind of player that responds to long balls from the goalkeeper. But we're working stuff. We're kind of get my flag pitched, or get my tent pitched up the end of the park plenty of times, and Dessers trying to win a penalty and stuff like that. He is fly, isn't he? He is very fly. I'm convinced he wears the jersey. He is a big guy as well. I don't know how much weight he carries, but I think he wears a jersey that's a size too big anyway, and he keeps it outside the shorts, so it's constantly there, tempting defenders to grab it. He works every angle he can. This new rule about nobody able to talk to the referee if you're not the captain, he's abusing that all night. Luckily, he got a booking in the last minute of normal time, but I think a few other referees wouldn't have lasted that long without a booking and may well not have seen the second leg. He was putting himself about Big Cyriel, very cynical performance in the best possible way in a lot of respects. But there was a moment where it was offside and they end up, he has a header from like a yard out and he nods it straight into the keeper's hand. Basically the only way he can find for it not to go in the back of the net, he managed, and you're getting that thing starting to build up that frustration. This isn't the Dessers that walks in 2 goals against Union Berlin in that friendly a couple of weeks ago. This is the Dessers that was missing quite a few chances at Tynecastle, and you're starting to even see that header he had off the bar on the post. Was it well defended? This is at Tynecastle. You start seeing more stuff like that. You start reevaluating and thinking, no, it was just really bad misses. He's just terrible in front of goal. But how did he get so many goals in a season? This is the reality of guys who get 22 goals a season instead of 35 and 40. They will miss as many chances as they score, if not more. But we're playing against a team who were half expecting to play us off the park. So even though it's resulting in chances, frustrating misses in front of goal for Rangers, at least we're getting up their end of the park as well. Kind of eeksy-peeksy, but I thought they looked more dangerous. Yarmolenko's given us problems. And so it proved to be the case. The goal we lost, it was just getting towards the kind of 40-minute mark. You're just starting to think, well, get down the tunnel at half-time, a draw. Maybe we could even snatch a goal and go in at half-time in the lead. Just like as soon as I relax, Rangers seem to relax. And it was a catalogue of errors. Again, it was Jack Butland, this plan to launch it up the park. Dessers just is never getting there in time, so the centre half quite an easy clearance. But I think the plan is to get second ball, because like Jack Charlton's Republic of Ireland team of the kind of late 80s, early 90s, and the plan is to get the secondary ball, but our Niall Quinn can't even get onto the ball. Big Cyriel, but in that left back, as always, young Yilmaz, he's in there and he gets a hold of it, but he can't do anything with it, and then he gets caught out in possession again, and they just break on us. It's basically the mistake, if anybody's making a mistake, other than the tactic of trying to launch a ball up to Cyriel Dessers, it's probably Yilmaz. He gets caught out, but then that just leads to them easily taking us apart down our left-hand side, and they were giving us a lot of pressure down our left-hand side, but Yarmolenko, who's on our right-hand side, the vastly 120 odd caps and 40 odd goals for Ukraine, played for West Ham, played for Dortmund. He's kind of ghosting at the back post areas. The ball just gets played across, and in the replays it looks like John Suter has lost him. But it's that thing again where there's even that pre-season friendly with Union Berlin, the number of different Rangers players, defenders you could blame for not stopping the goal is it's getting into. There's actually like 13 Rangers players you can blame for the goal that we've conceded. But the last player in shot on camera as the ball goes into the back of the net, as Yarmolenko just taps it in, is James Tavernier standing in the centre of the goals. And you're thinking, if Tav's closest to it, Tav's going to get blamed. It's that back post problem. Remember the goals? It was poor Stephen Miller, Rangers archive. He puts up just a goal this day in history, and Rangers losing a couple of goals against Hearts with James Tavernier to blame. It was like 8 years ago, and folk are going, well, that just sums him up. The guiding us to a European final single-handedly in between times, and every major domestic trophy. No, that's forgotten. They don't sum him up. It's the 2 goals we lost at Tynecastle that time. So I'm thinking Tav's going to get the blame for this, but I think you look back on it, it's a combination of our centre halves not knowing who they should be picking up, and seemingly kind of running away from the player they should be picking up, as opposed to it's the minute Yilmaz gets caught out, everybody panics and just vacates their allotted role, and it just causes general mayhem. It's an easy goal, and they end up for Dynamo Kyiv, and that's us. We go in 1-0 down, you're a bit down yourself, and the answer is hefty. The answer, it turns out, is hefty. A guy I'd only seen playing once before, I actually watched him, and that was that friendly against Union Berlin, and he was one of the 25 players that was taking the blame for a couple of the goals we lost to Union Berlin in that friendly. I'd heard bad reports about how he got on against Manchester United's B team in that friendly at Murrayfield the week before, and I wasn't feeling good about it, but he come on for Scott Wright. We played Wright on the left, and they would put Hefty on, and I'd heard people saying this, and a few days before this game kicked off, Hefty can actually be a winger as well. We can actually play wide left. Maybe he's an option. He is an option. And the Rangers tactic changed to not launch it, but deliver it. and deliver it from your fullbacks. But now we had three fullbacks on the park, and Hefty, every single fucking time he put the ball into their box, it caused absolute mayhem. Mayhem to the extent they're actually raging at Rangers, nobody able to take advantage of it. Dynamo Kyiv fell to pieces sometimes with it just any ball he played into their box, Hefty. They just try to clear it at last minute and all that, and that Tom Lawrence did one where he nodded it with his, off his back shoulder or something like that, and the goalkeeper just he guided it over the bar, almost watched it going over the bar. I think he touched it over the bar, and he turned round and he looked like he looked like he'd just seen a ghost. The poor fellow was having a nervous breakdown. Hefty was causing absolute chaos in that Dynamo Kyiv box, but we weren't able to take advantage. But this was part of the whole second half. Hefty, particularly maybe first 20 minutes or so, he was causing havoc, and Tav's hitting them. Tav's clearly, on a mission to deliver balls from the wing. I know people are tired of that tactic, but the manager's obviously telling him to do it, and it's one thing he can do really well. And you've also got Ridvan, who's exciting. He can put in a cracking ball. Was it Ridvan that put in that ball, actually, that Tom Lawrence headed with his back? So anyway, there's so many balls, basically. That sums it up. I'm not making a mistake there. I'm actually just conveying to you the chaos we were causing. There was so many balls going in from three fullbacks we had on the park now that the Dynamo Kyiv didn't know what to do, but they weren't conceding a goal. They broke on us twice, I think, in that entire second half, and involved a Jack Butland save. But the manager was doing that thing. Come with the hour, come with the fact that Rangers will have made a substitution, 90 seconds or 2 minutes before that. He always makes a substitution just before the hour, doesn't he, the manager? And who was it this time? God, the brain's gone here. It was now 60 minutes we brought on. Oh, God, I'm totally gone, because 70 minutes we brought somebody on, 80 minutes we brought somebody on. It was Dujon Sterling. He came on 70 minutes for Connor Barron or for Diamande. And no, he came on for Corin Barron, 70 minutes. 80 minutes we brought on Dow. Kieran Dow come on for Diamande. The two of them had worked fantastically well. Made a few mistakes, made a few kind of dodgy pass backs, or failed to find their man, and because they're deep lying, that could have caused us problems. Defence did well. Nothing was really tidy tonight, but it was effective. They were very effective, and you look like a team that are just, as I was talking about earlier today, preliminary drawings, preliminary sketches. They're getting closer to the desired portrait of a proper Rangers team. But it was definitely early days. It was rusty. It wasn't tidy, but it was doing the job. And God, who the hell did we bring on? And I know you're shouting here. It was Cherny, the Václav. No wonder I can't remember him. So we've got Hefty the lefty, and we've also got in the right wing. We've got Cherny the lefty as well, because he likes to he puts the balls in with his left foot. He's a left-footed right winger. He went out there. I think he was that great. He wasn't that great, and basically had a whole half hour of the game. He come on for Ross McCausland, who I don't know. This was the manager keeping Ross McCausland? Didn't he have him in the squad at all on Saturday? Did he for Tynecastle? Was he keeping him fresh to play him instead of Wright on the right tonight? Or is he kind of out the picture? I don't think so, but Philip Clement brought him on that game against Aris Limassol, didn't he? And he scored the goal and he saved he must have faith in young Ross McCausland. I was glad to see him getting a game. But on comes Cherny. And he knows what he's doing. Obviously, he's not giving the ball away or doing anything stupid. He wasn't quite as effective as even he was in that wee 20-minute cameo he had on Saturday at Tynecastle. But ding dang dong, we're passing the ball about. We're doing quite well. They broke on us a couple of times. Wasn't really coming to anything. Then we get into 4 minutes. We died down a bit. Again, a bit like Tynecastle on Saturday, where we really dominate up until kind of 70, 75 minutes, and then the home team have to come back at us a bit and try to re-establish themselves in the game, because we're threatening to overrun them a bit, and it puts us in the back foot slightly without any real danger. But it's 4 minutes injury time, and Alan Hutton, I hate the fate tempted stuff. I'm very superstitious. But it's 85 minutes, like normal time, 85 minutes. There's obviously going to be 4 or 5 minutes injury time. And they start talking about, they've done well to only get beat 1-0 here. It's quite good. They can take it back to Hampden. There's all to play for. And this game's got like 10 minutes to go here. Anything could happen. You really felt it was Nick's goal the winner. We were dominating, or definitely had more of the ball and looked more dangerous. One goal from them though, and that's it. We're 2-0 down, and we're coming back to Hampden. We're not used to playing. We only our second game using Hampden as a home stadium, and we're trying to overcome a 2-goal deficit, something we've only done once in our history, and we did it at Ibrox. So you're still pretty worried it could go either way. Is there kind of Nick's goal's a winner in terms of the tie feeling about it, which I now wish I hadn't said, because that is fate tempting. But I felt as if I was going to be extra unhappy if we didn't get the draw. and it's 3.5 minutes of injury time have been played. No, sorry, it's the 3 minutes, about 3 minutes, and they're down outside our box, down in the kind of our right hand corner, and Tav goes in and he hits this ball, and I think Tav just kicked that straight out, but no, he'd put some air in it, so it clipped off Dynamo Kyiv outside left. He gets the shy, and then Tav gets the ball to Cherny. Cherny gets the ball back to Tav. He's taking his time. He's getting everybody organised. Tav, the captain, the European legend that is James Tavernier, and he launches it forward up to Big Cyriel, who does a great touch on it. Fantastic striker, coming deep type touch. No, I'm going to. You take that now. I'll get myself back in the box. Meantime, it goes away. Tom Lawrence, a lovely touch. He gets in there. And Tom Lawrence lasting the whole game tonight. He'd moments, Tom Lawrence, but he'd also moments. Every time you had a moment, you thought, oh, he's still playing. He's just there for these moments of class. A guy we thought maybe couldn't play tonight. I was looking at Dujon Sterling coming on and playing alongside Barron and Diamandi in that sitting midfield, make it a more of a sitting defensive midfield. I didn't think we could afford the 10 slot tonight, especially somebody who, had his injury problems, getting a bit older, a kind of, a very delicate type of player, Tom Lawrence. But no, he lasted the pace tonight, and I'm glad he did, because he gets that ball out to Hefty, the lefty, and he puts it right over the other side to Cherny, the lefty, who does what he was brought here to do. This is Niels Coppin. And if you look at Clement's transfer policy paying off on a winner, he takes that ball on his right foot and he cuts inside to get it onto the left, floats it into the box, and Big Cyriel, there's about 4 or 5, 1,500 Dynamo Kyiv defenders backtracking, and it just arrives at the edge of that 6-yard box, and Big Cyriel just ghosting. Despite his size, despite that big flapping dark blue shirt he was wearing the night, he's just ghosting into that box like a proper striker. He is right foot, low touch, into the bottom corner. The clock's hitting 3:44. It didn't even kick off again. It was the last kick of the ball. One each. We have put this tie on ice. We have definitely put ourselves in the driving seat. There's no way we're not chasing a deficit when we come back. And I just think, ignore what's going to happen next week. Difficult as that is, ignore what's going to happen on Saturday, even with Motherwell at Hampden. What a confusing situation that is. We've just had a good result. We've had a good night. We ended it well, and you could see the tiny little improvement, the incremental, more than incremental, not enough that we're anywhere near the standard we want to be at, or we're going to need to be at this season, not even to get through the next round, not even to get through this next leg maybe at Hampden, but there's a definite clear improvement even over the Union Berlin Hearts in this game tonight. There's definitely incremental improvement, and you can see I had faith that the manager knew what he was doing, but I definitely think he does know what he's doing. And I'm talking a lot of rubbish here, folks. It is just all reaction. It's all emotional claptrap. I'm getting all emotive and what have you, and you need proper analysis. But I've been talking the hind legs off his all week, so you deserve a wee break, because we're going through a lot of stuff just now. And this move to Hampden is going to be something else to take on board. They kept talking about that tonight, didn't they? They kept talking about the fact it was a really strange situation with it. But you know, if you watch the Fat Egg podcasts, I told you. Motherwell against Llanelli in the second qualifying round of the 2009-2010 Europa League. Motherwell played their home leg at Airdrie, and Llanelli played their home leg at the local rugby stadium. So it has happened before, and all sorts of Scottish teams. Because Airdrie, Broomfield wasn't up to it. So I think no, it wasn't Airdrie. No, Airdrie did play. No, people played at Queen of South. Aye, Palmerston wasn't up to it, so Queen of South played their only European tie. It was against Midtjylland, I think. Was it Midtjylland or Norrköping? One of the kind of. Norrköping or Swedish Alec is another Danish team. I'm all about the Rangers tonight. They played it at Airdrie. They played it at Schreiber Excelsior as well. I think there's quite a few instances of Scottish teams playing home games in Europe at somebody else's stadium in Scotland. Rangers have never. We've never. I'm sure we've definitely played 2. We've hosted at least 2 league games, Old Firm games at Hampden back when we're redeveloping Ibrox on the Willie Waddle plan in kind of 78 to 1980, 81, whatever. We definitely played 2 Old Firm games at Hampden, using that as our home venue, but I don't think we played a European tie there. Just let me know if I'm wrong, if you can think of one. Celtic have played at Hampden in Europe. We've had chances to we've been in the European Cup when the final was going to be played at Hampden. Didn't quite make it, but I think I wanted it to be a momentous occasion, but I think it's quite ironic that we're playing Motherwell on Saturday at Hampden when they're another club that's played a European tie at home in Scotland in a different stadium. but I really wanted this to be a magical kind of momentous. I just want at least next week. Dynamo Kyiv themselves should play at Hampden. I've seen Ukraine, as I say, 4 times at Hampden. And Dynamo Kyiv are the Ukrainian team, and what that country's going through right now. They're at the thick end of the wedge. We've got the thin end of what Putin's wedge is what's been happening in this country for years now. So many bad actors are just paid off by Putin, etc., causing all this crap that's going on down south, and just causing good friends to fight with each other and fall out on Twitter and what have you. But I think there's to be able to go into this game next week, knowing that we've got it in the bank, that at least we'll start the game dead level and probably favourites against Dynamo Kyiv. We can make it a magical night. Hampden's a great stadium. It really is a great stadium. It's got a magical history. I know practically in terms of views and what have you from behind. They go from a few stands at Hampden. It's not the best, but what I like? I like the fact that they got the right amount of lux into the floodlights, so it's really bright. You think of Hampden's a dark, dingy place, and it maybe is if you're in the stands. You think about a nighttime game, but it's really bright on the pitch, and that's the way it should be. European football, great European nights, that's what it's all about. I think it's going to be a magical night at home to Dynamo Kyiv, and we've given ourselves a real chance to. I'm going to hit you again with a question. We've only done 35 minutes, so this is me doing a short podcast. Dynamo Kyiv, I think Atletico Madrid have lost the final of the European Cup Champions League 3 times. They're the only club to have lost 3 finals of the European Cup or Champions League without ever having won the trophy, without ever having won Europe's top football trophy. They've lost it after a replay, and in the first game they conceded an equaliser in the 120th minute. They've lost it on penalties in 2016, and I think they were winning that night as well. Were they winning that night? They lost it in penalties anyway at San Siro. Painful. And then in 2014 they lost it, and they lost it twice to the greatest team in the history of the European Cup, Real Madrid, but who are also their local rivals, their derby rivals. They lost it again to them, or previously to them, in 2014 in the Stadium of Light, Benfica, and they were winning 1-0 until injury time. They conceded an equaliser in injury time, and then they lost 3 goals in extra time. So they've lost it in 3 times in painful ways. But after that, I think there's a wee competition. It's between Dynamo Kyiv and between Rangers, as far as I'm concerned, as to clubs who, for one reason or another, need the European Cup or the Champions League as much as anybody else. In our case, it's because of local rivalry, as much as our continued access, and the fact we've been to the semi-final a couple of times, but Dynamo Kyiv have been to the semi-final 3 times. And I think it's when they're playing in the old Soviet League, and certain times in the Ukrainian League as well, they can't do a winter season because the winter's over that part of the world, so they've had to play in the summer. So by the time they're playing in the semi-final stage, it's their pre-season, so they're not as fit as the Western European teams that are coming up against. That's a real disadvantage. But they had 2 stars on their badge tonight, and that's for the 2 European Cup Winners' Cups they've won. As far as I know, maybe it's the 20 league titles or something like that between the Soviet titles and the Ukrainian titles. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure it's for the 2 Cup Winners' Cups they've won. They won the 2 European finals they've played in. We were wearing our 5 stars tonight on that kind of navy blue, camouflaged in red type kit we were wearing. There's absolutely no need for us to be wearing that kit tonight. But we didn't have the 5 strip. But if we'd had the 5 stars, they would have thought, they've played in 5 European finals, or they've won 5 European trophies, but we've played in 5 European finals. We've only won one of them, but we've played in 5 as opposed to the other 2, and we've played in 2 different European finals, UEFA Cup / Europa League and the Cup Winners' Cup. They've only played in the Cup Winners' Cup final. We've been to 2 European Cup semi-finals or Champions League semi-finals. They've been to 3. I feel as if we're really matched. Dynamo Kyiv, it's just they're such a massive club, such a great history. They deserve to get in there and be the next team to win the European Cup or the Champions League, and we've got the fact that Celtic have won it and have beat another final, and we haven't even been to the final yet, and we've got so close in the past, and we've done everything else in Europe. I feel as if we're equally matched, and for us to have a kind of playoff for that at Hampden is something else. The manager, Philippe Clement, this is the 3rd time, as I say, that he's been, it's in the qualifying stages of the Champions League. He's played in the Champions League group stages 3 times, but only once did he have to qualify with Club Bruges, and they played this round, the 3rd qualifying round, and they Bruges beat Dynamo Kyiv under his tutelage, winning the home leg 1-0 and drawing away from home 3 each, I think it was, in Kiev. The other time he got involved, it was a player. It was the same round, and it was Monaco when he was that kind of 18 months he had in charge at Monaco, and they lost narrowly, I think, to PSV Eindhoven, who Gio then put them out in the next round, in the playoff round, the season that we put PSV Eindhoven out, season before last. So this is the man. He's got plenty of experience, but he's kind of one each. So this is the decider for Philippe Clement as well in terms of qualifying for Champions League group stages. This, and it would need to be the next round as well, which is going to be against Twente or Salzburg. Whoever gets through next week, I don't want to tempt fate. Aye, folks, it's been. I'll leave you one more. It's only 40 minutes. You deserve more than that, or maybe you deserve less than that. I left you in the post-match reaction pod on Saturday with a really boring, convoluted metaphor / analogy, almost a simile, about my time on holiday in Oban last week, getting fish up. Watch it again if you want. It depends what your tastes are when it comes to pods. So you deserve another one about my holidays. And I just slipped in the fact that, don't think it's just Oban I can go to in my holidays, because I'm such a snob, you know what I mean? It's all about the Joneses, because I'd been to Nashville and Dollywood and into North Carolina. I went a wee holiday to the States, a wee driving holiday to the States back in April. And there was one moment where I was driving from, at the time we had the solar eclipse, I was in a Lincoln saloon car, one of the big cars that American thinks is a wee car. And I'm driving this thing up, highways and byways. I don't know, it was I-24, I-20, all these different I's. Just saying I'm on the interstate was absolutely phenomenal. I drove through a time zone at one point. But one day I drove from Gatlinburg, and we're going into Cherokee, which is another nation, the Cherokee Nation. We're going into Cherokee in North Carolina, which is within North Carolina, to stay a night there, and that was amazing. But to do that, to drive through the Rockies and be pulled over, we saw that solar eclipse. No, I didn't see it. You can look at it, in different ways, so you don't burn your eyes. And this is just amazing. But as I was driving up over this, over the Great Smoky Mountains, the Smokies, it's like the west coast of Scotland on steroids. It's unbelievable scene. It's just phenomenal, breathtaking. And I'm like, this is brilliant. I'm loving driving this motor. And all I've been thinking about was heat. All I've been thinking about was Neil Macaulay in that motor. And it's a scene, I've practiced it a few times in the Clyde Tunnel. It's a great scene where he knows that Wayne Grows in the Hotel Marquee under the name Jameson, but he's home free. Nate tells him he's home free. He's got the money, he's got the love. He's managed to persuade her that although he's a bank robber, he's a guy it's worth her, spending the rest of her life with him, because he doesn't want to do it. And what's the point of doing anything else if I don't have you by my side? He tells Edie, played by Amy Brenneman, and he's managed to persuade her that it's going to be okay, and they're going to go and get the plane, the getaway plane, private plane that'll take him to New Zealand, and they'll set up their new life together. And he's driving through this tunnel, and he's just thinking, he's like, home free. She's like, you okay? I'm home free, everyone's going to be fine. And it's the face acting. De Niro with the face acting, because he just knows that Wayne Grow got a couple of his pals killed and all that, and he needs to get revenge. But if he goes to get Wayne Grow, he's risking getting away and living the rest of his life, the love of his life. But just this scene is beautifully shot. Dante Spinotti and what have you, the beautiful, just that whole kind of electric dreams type way that they filmed the film Heat. And he's in this saloon car driving through this tunnel, and it's just, and he's doing the face act where he's wrestling with his conscience, and he's like, it's going to be fine, I'm going to kill you, it's going to be fine, I'm going to kill you. And then eventually he just swings over and he takes the exit to go to Hotel Marquee to kill Wayne Grow, which he does, but that leads to his downfall ultimately. And I've tried in the Clyde Tunnel. My wife doesn't know what I'm trying to do. She thinks I've got wind as usual. But I was in America in an American car, and there's a tunnel coming up on the Rocky Mountains. I am doing this. I'm having this moment. I am having this heat moment. Do you think the analogy? Do you think the metaphor is going to be, don't slag Rangers, realise Rangers that love you, and don't veer off and kill Wayne Grow. Just stick on the track. Don't slag the manager, don't slag the chairman, whatever, just stick by the team and everyone's going to be better. No. The metaphor is, when I went into the tunnel, and it was during the day, it wasn't at night time like it is in Heat, when Neil Macaulay drives into that tunnel, I realised that I'd been driving in daytime. Every time I'd driven this motor, I'd been driving in daytime, and I hadn't worked out where the lights were. I hadn't worked out where next one. So we get into the tunnel and suddenly it's pitch black. And I'm like, oh my God, where's the lights? We're going to die. I can't see in. And my wife's gone, it's actually light at the end of the day. You're fitting in. It was such a short tunnel that it was light anyway. And it came up again, another tunnel. What the fuck is this? She's just behind the steering wheel. And just where the lights are in a normal British motor. And I found them and it was absolutely fine. The metaphor is, I expected Rangers pre-season summertime to be as cool and existentially angsty and aggressive, but also committed to love and looking super glamorous the same way as Robert De Niro's Neil Macaulay was driving through that tunnel. It's turned into me driving through that tunnel between Tennessee and North Carolina, just a big panicky mess. But I got there in the end. You know what I mean? We got there in the end. Talk to you soon, troops.